Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How's everybody doing?
Doing great. How about you?
All right, good. We have a special guest today. Let me bring him on. Our guest today is Iman Huschmand.
Give him the drum roll.
Iman, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome.
What's up?
Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure.
So Iman, he's, as he would say, a serial entrepreneur. You've done everything from DJing to wedding entertainment. And now you have this new project going on, Unite and Conquer, where it's to inspire people and to talk about the real life stories and the trials and tribulations. Am I right with that? Or
yeah, pretty much. I mean, Unite and Conquer is essentially it's geared and tailored towards modern day entrepreneurs. And because we also have a production company that is videography and photography, we try to tell the story of modern day entrepreneurs and but deep down, like 7 layers deep kind of stuff. Like there's nobody that's an entrepreneur that just wakes up every single day doing something just for a paycheck. They're doing it for a mission, a purpose, a goal, a reason to make a difference, whether it's in their family or community or the world. Like they just have like big picture shit in mind. And so, by the way, can I curse? I'm a
yeah. All good, man.
All right, cool. And so that the Unite and Conquer really, it kind of was created. The catalyst was I, as an entrepreneur, just felt like entrepreneurs don't have each other's backs enough. And like, I was like, I want to be the uniter, and then together we unite, together we conquer. So providing tools, resources, educate, entertain, inspire. And then with our production company, we tell your story in a very cinematic, emotionally evoking manner so that fantastic. People really get to know who you are and why you do what you do.
The people behind the brand.
And we'll dig into that a little bit more. So Iman, I spoke to you earlier this week, and what's the noosh of the week you picked for us?
Oh man, the noosh of the peak was a menage a trois. We're 4 people.
No way.
Oh my God, we got a double whammy.
Oh yeah. I got the midnight version because it was two for the price of one. So okay. I had to get that. Right. As a person.
You gotta look for the BOGOs.
I was going for the deal.
You know what's funny? Iranians will go for the BOGO, but then we'll still go for the Gucci and the Louis Vuittons. And
that's the only way we can afford the Gucci.
Listen, you start for Dewey on the BOGOs at Publix, and you go get yourself a Gucci across the street.
You gotta prioritize.
So cheers.
Cheers. Really proud of what you guys are doing.
Thank you
so much, man. I appreciate it.
Before we go on, though, I always like to do a close-up for our guests. So if everyone can say, hi, Iman.
Salam, Iman.
Hello, Iman. Now you're like...
Hey, everybody.
Serenaded. There you go.
You're fully initiated now.
Now you're fully initiated into the Monday Noosh team.
I love it.
Now we can go on.
So Iman, as I was mentioning, you have I could do a whole podcast about everything that you do.
Do it.
Oh,
okay, just listing it.
If you only want 2 views, go ahead.
Yeah. So, in honor of you today, I know. Okay, so you have an interesting story about being an Iranian American. You actually weren't born in Iran or America. You were born in Germany. Is that correct?
That's true. Jawohl.
And I got my Germany jersey on today.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Go ahead, Deutschland, baby.
Yeah, Deutschland. Yeah. Okay. So, and you kind of talked about this on your pod, on I think it was the 2nd episode of your pod, right? About migrating and the trials and tribulations.
Let's Get Shit Done. Yeah.
Yeah, the Let's Get Shit Done podcast. I guess my first question is kind of what do you do right now as far as you have Unite and Conquer? You kind of explain what that is, and then what is exclusively entertainment?
Yeah, and I'm totally not surprised that there's some confusion in that. There's a lot of stuff that I have my hands on. I feel like a lot of times I'm this octopus that just has multiple hands.
No, and then I saw you did a whole series of interviewing. What was it called? The interview.
Awesome people.
Awesome people. Yeah.
All right. So basically, I'm gonna not try to take up too much of y'all's time talking about my boring story, but at its core, I'm an entertainer. So back when I was 16 years old, I started DJing, and then DJ for about 7-8 years. And then after DJing, I was like, okay, I got to do big boy stuff. So after grad school, I was like, I got to figure out a job situation. I went and worked for Ritz-Carlton in Doha, Qatar, in the middle of the Middle East. And I was doing marketing consulting, and I just hated working for other people. I hated 9 to 5. I hated corporate America.
Yeah.
And I was like, the only thing that I love, the only thing that I'm passionate about, the only thing that people think that I'm good at or I'm good at was entertainment. But I really never thought of myself as a very good DJ. I was actually more comfortable just hosting and being an MC. And I used to have my cousin DJ with me. So we were like a duo DJ Iman and Jiman back in the day. So I was like, fuck it, man. When I come back from the Middle East, I want to start an entertainment company because I felt there was a gap in having a professional entertainment company in the Persian community in the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Right.
But I was like, I don't ever want to just kind of tap into one community. I felt like that was a great foundational community, but if I really want to grow and expand, I need to look at it as outside of Persian too. So great foothold, great connections with the Persian community, always loved them, but I was like, let me grow it. So I grew my entertainment company, Exclusive Entertainment, to up to 18 DJs, Persian DJs, Latin DJs, All-American DJs, South Asian DJs, Afghan DJs, et cetera, just trying to expand via music, because that's how you tap into different cultures, by having like a DJ that kind of tap into those cultures, not by providing lighting or photo or video. It was primarily through music. So I kind of just use that as like the driving force to spearhead the growth of Exclusive Entertainment, to the point that up to date, we've done over 3,000 events, over 1,000 weddings all around the world. Then Corona happened, and I was like, shit. Yeah, so we were like the events industry was the first domino that fell, and it's likely going to be the last domino that gets up. So I was like,
it's the event industry, and then kind of so
hospitality.
Hospitality. Yeah.
Well, I have people that I know who are in the ticket business, like sporting events and concerts, and they're in a coma right now. They're on life support.
Yeah. It's tragic. It's tragic.
Entertainment will probably come back a little bit before then.
Entertainment and media in general, I think they're finding loopholes and ways to do shows and reunions and documentaries and things like that via Zoom,
like
via
online events.
Yeah, exactly. We've been seeing like a lot of virtual concerts where people would just come on and they perform on Instagram Live. Now you see TikTok. The Weeknd did the TikTok the other day, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we did that. We actually did something called the Unity Live Stream Music Festival. Like, it was actually a fundraising effort for all my DJs, musicians, my hardworking technicians. I mean, these were guys and gals that were, working, getting ready for high season, because January, February, March was our dead season. So they were just getting ready, and then boom, March, when our event started. So I was kind of like, had my hands tied behind my back. So I was like, you know what, let's produce a nice online streaming festival. So we did that back in April or May, but then it kind of got played out. A lot of people were doing it. So people just were getting tired of the two. Now fast forward August, and nobody really wants to sit down and
nobody's like in the beginning, in like March, April.
They're in quarantine. They'll watch that shit.
People were actually listening and staying in place, and you were able to have those kind of online shows and get good engagement with them.
Yeah. And so I was like, this might be like the long run for me. And like, Exclusive Entertainment had been my bread and butter. But last fall, I had started two separate companies. One was Unite and Conquer, which was like the consulting company and helping entrepreneurs. And then I had this company called Night Owls, which is providing photo and video services for like private events, weddings, corporate events. I had to kind of separate the brands. So I've been like in a transition period trying to rebrand, and it becomes kind of confusing for people who have known me for entertainment, for now being like the consultant. What the hell is Night Owl? So there's a lot of confusion and challenges that I'm kind of going through. But I know that in the long term, what I'm doing is right. I'm separating these services. Exclusive Entertainment is going to focus just on entertainment and lighting, providing the best entertainment, specializing in weddings. So I want EE to be known as weddings. Night Owls, if you're having a special celebration, we can capture it photo and video-wise. Unite and Conquer is there for all my entrepreneur friends. Anybody that has a business or a brand, a message that they want to get out, Unite and Conquer is there to provide them with all the support that they need. So these are the three things that I have going on at the same time. And with EE, obviously, we are kind of in a coma. At the same time, in the next 3 months, there's a lot of people that are engaged that want to get married end of 2021 into 2022. So
quarantine has also caused a lot of divorce parties too.
Divorce
parties. A lot of people are falling in love too quickly. They're being dependent on
the quarantine boyfriends and girlfriends. Those videos, the TikToks with people like in the New York apartment across the street, like on the balcony. They're like,
I saw that one.
A lot of babies, a lot of baby showers too.
There's a lot of people getting back into relationships out of like convenience.
Out of straight boredom
or sheer boredom.
One of my videographers, I was like, yo, so what you been up to? Any ladies? And he's like, oh, I'm actually back with whatever. I was like, you are from like a year ago? She's like, yeah, quarantine happened and I got bored and we hit each other up and we're back together.
Oh,
I was like, well, hopefully this not
bored.
It happens, man. It happens.
How Shakespearean of them.
Yeah, very
How
romantic.
romantic. How lovely.
happened. And
It's a typical Romeo and Juliet story.
so we've all been to one of your events, and I kind of
Private events, never to any of our concerts or big public
No.
events. Always just private, right?
Private.
private,
Yeah.
right? Well, your
You know how we
public
do.
ones were generally in the DC area, no?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. We try. Well, yeah, but go continue. There's some
Yeah,
stories.
more or less. So I kind of saw the behind the scenes of what you do in the background, and I will say, for even something that I think it was only 100 guests, and then just for good measure, 100 guests in an Iranian group is not a lot of people.
No, that's like
It's
that's
on
like
the
a
smaller
cool,
side.
Definitely not a lot of people.
it's like
That's
a gathering.
That's one family.
That's the cousins.
Yeah. That was one small group chat, one message went out, and 100 people showed up.
Yeah, one Telegram group message.
Yeah. So I saw the level of detail coming from, you lived in DC at the time, and you came down here to Fort Lauderdale, and with the level of detail, you and your team did that event as if it was a 500-person event for a grand wedding, but it was a simple 100-person event, for an anniversary party. And let me tell you guys, the second Iman and his team arrived, get this set up, get that set up. Okay, Arash, we need this. Can you, and ahead of time, Iman had sent me a list of everything that he needed. And then when we finally got everything sorted out, these guys were machines, okay?
Wow.
And that was a fun night. I remember it being a fun night. And then Iman looked
I remember it being a small stage, but it was a fun fucking night.
It was a small stage. I remember the stage situation too. I remember you got a little bit upset about that, but then I think you got over it within a minute or two.
You made it work.
Because the crowd was amazing. You guys.
Yeah, and I think you looked at us sideways when we said at the end, play the 8 Iran anthem to finish.
Oh yeah, I remember.
God, this is like
totally
releasing
forgot about
information I
that.
had no idea was in my brain. Like
But to Arash's point, I obviously wasn't there for the planning process, but both the events that I went to that your company was responsible for, they were both incredible events that my family and I still talk about to this day, about how great of an event you can put on, and you're mindful of everything, and how do I say in Farsi, garm mikoni the environment,
Remember,
everyone's
in these parties, and these weddings and events, it's the music is the main part. Okay,
sure.
Nobody's gonna forget if the steak was dry or if the cake was whatever. Everything, remember that I have a good time because of the music and the entertainment.
Yeah, if you get everyone dancing, they're not gonna worry about anything else.
Yeah,
right?
especially Iranians too. You put on some of that Iran, some Gentleman by Saucy and Baba Karam, and there you go. It's like two songs.
all right. I bought all of you guys. This really warms my heart because obviously I kind of like transitioned out of being more of an entertainer just because there's a time and place for anything. And I just turned 40 years old. So like I knew that I didn't want to be emceeing weddings and stuff. So that's why I've been doing a lot of concerts. But like just hearing this kind of feedback, like first of all, I appreciate and miss all those great events and weddings now more than ever because I can't even see my company providing it. Right. But this is exactly why I did it, is because for whatever reason, not enough Persians especially cared about quality entertainment in America, or like at least the places that I lived and worked. Like it was always like these one-off DJs with bad sound, bad lighting. They didn't care. They wouldn't be responsive.
Well,
and
even when we brought Iranian singers for concerts, they would be in a hotel ballroom. And I remember you had a post one time about that, about how the acoustics are off because it's in a ballroom. It's not made for a concert. So these poor singers are coming in and people are complaining, but it's not even their fault. It's just the venue doesn't have the juice for that type of entertainment.
Or even that one little event we went to Arash in Miami with Rebecca, and that like really small cramped up place.
No, but that was a nightclub.
That was just an Irani DJ that just came for Memorial Day.
All right, so Iman, you touched on the public events a little bit. What made you get into those, and what were those like?
Wow. So what made me, so there's a two-pronged response to that. One is I always thought that the best way to kind of showcase our entertainers and show our DJs, musicians, and our lighting full in action was to actually perform live. I feel like if you're going to choose us or anyone for your wedding or private event, it's because, I saw that DJ there. I saw this guy here. So like that kind of like would help you choose that entertainment.
So kind of like a marketing.
Market. That's it. Exactly. Full-fledged market. And the other thing was, for whatever reason, man, I've just always had this insatiable desire to bring the community together. I felt like even though I never lived in Iran, even though I never was really into the Persian community until I was like 17 years old, I was like, I feel like every Iranian, especially outside of Iran, has like a little bit of an obligation to do their part to preserve our music, to preserve our culture, to just bring our community together. And I was like, this is like community celebrations, you know? And so like, I just kind of started off on a very small DJ level back in the teenage years. And then as the years continued, as exclusive entertainment grew, I just kept on trying to do bigger and better events and concerts. And so that's what we did.
Going off of that, I guess, something that you said in your podcast, one of the episodes where you said, I think 2 years ago, you had like a financial downfall because you were putting on all these big public events. And I don't know if it was the budgeting or what it was that you touched on that kind of caused this downfall. But my question is like, was there like an aha moment that made you realize that? Or when was the point where you were like, oh God, like I'm making the wrong decisions, I'm making the wrong turns in my business and I need to, you know, shift the way I'm doing things or it's going to end badly?
I think when I pretty much just lost my shirt, I think that's when unfortunately my aha moment came much later than most astute businessmen would do. If I had a good P&L, if I had a better accountant, if I had just a little bit more logic instead of emotion, because I constantly had this like gamblers, blackjack, let's double or nothing type of mentality where I was like, okay, because it was all like, they're all business ventures. Every major event, production, concert is like a $50,000 to $100,000 thing. So you're kind of like, okay, so should I put my money on TM Back? Should I put it on Modern Talking, on Alabina, on Sogan? TM Back. Yeah, actually, that was the one winner actually. But you know, like you kind of just make your calls, and at the end of the day, it's a gamble, because especially when you're talking about Persian community, if you're talking about Persian concerts, there's so much unpredictability. And as every year passes, you know, like you guys are outliers. You know, there's not too many people in their 20s, Iranian in America, that are still kind of together, that will go support Persian events. I mean, we're dinosaurs, especially like
a dying breed.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting that you brought up when you were 17 that you decided to, you know, try to bring the community together and get more in tune with the Iranian culture.
Yeah.
And I think I may be speaking out of line here, but I think a lot of people did that because when you're in school, in grade school, okay, you don't want to be the different person.
Yeah. You want to fit in somewhere.
You want to fit in. So you kind of just fit in whatever that routine of that culture is, wherever you're growing up, you know, and mostly just American culture, or you know, down here, it's kind of more of a melting pot. So you're more Hispanic culture. So what do you think about, you know, just as a generalization?
Well, that's true. But also 17 for me was 1997. 17 for somebody right now is 2020. And if we're talking about the Persian community, like, again, it's like as every year passes and as like our generation has children, they're growing up super Americanized. You know, like in 1997, 17, there were so many Persians that had just come from Iran, and they still have this connection to the culture and a lot of fobs, you know, like, and that's what like Persian promoters, and I don't say it in a bad derogatory way, but like I say with love, you know, I was the most Americanized fob in the entire DMV community, you know, like shockingly, I was like the most well-known MC, and I can't even speak good Farsi, you know, so like it's kind of weird how like I kind of fit into this group of like Persians that were super Persian, even though I was super Americanized or super Europeanized. But I think what has happened is throughout the years, I kept on thinking that there's so much demand for these kind of events, but there's not, because every year passes, more Persians go marry off non-Persians, more Persians get acclimated to American life, which is very sad, you know, and like I was fighting for it. I was fighting for it. I was fighting to keep it, but I would do all these mega events in the hopes that there'd be like a sponsor, somebody who wants to put money down and support it. Because really, like, you can have 1,000 people come to an event. I had 1,000 people for Sogan concert, and I lost $25,000. So if I had 1,500 people, that 500 people extra at $50 a pop, that's $25,000.
And I think of the Sogan concert because I listened to some of your posts when you want to talk about a review that you got.
Oh, wow. You remember these things.
I remember these things. I have a weird memory. Someone called you a rubber.
Yeah, rubber? No,
remember that?
No. What? Oh, Robert. Oh,
he called you. You remember? Yeah, now you remember.
You know, she's now like one of my, not best friends, but like she like loves me now. Like she apologized to me, and like
it was just a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's just a misunderstanding. Yeah. So with the events, was there anybody that came up to you and said, Iman, you need to stop. This is bad business?
Yeah, my entire family probably.
Really?
I was expecting that. I was gonna say
Yeah,
the Iranian
yeah.
families are the first to be like,
Yeah.
"Shkar dari mikoni," like,
Yeah, they know better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I like Ara said earlier, I chalked up so much of it as marketing budget because here was a juxtaposition. This was a double-edged sword where on one hand, financially, the public events were an epic failure financially, but everybody was loving it. The biggest concerts, the coolest
Of
events were
course.
all us,
Who's
you
not
know?
gonna love it?
Yeah, they love,
Yeah.
and they were packed in the eyes of people. Like people thought I was fucking walking away with highway robbery, not robbery, but like they thought I was killing it. You know, like they would see beautiful venues, 1,000 people, but I'm like, dude, I needed 1,500 people. But like, and then and so for me, it was like it was giving me this false sense of like, good job, Iman, keep on doing it. And our private events were actually getting better. We're getting more and more weddings, more and more events. But all the money that I was making from weddings, private events, from the growth of that because of popularity, I was shipping it away to all these artists that were asking for too much money, all these writers, what they wanted, the different cars, the different this, the different bottles, and all this stuff. So like, I was kind of like, the money was going to the wrong place, you know? And like, if I had like some great, I mean, the reason why people go to these Rihanna concerts and Beyonce concerts, they got mega sponsors.
Right.
They got the Pepsis and the Nets and whatever, like Sprints and AT&Ts.
Well, not only that, they're able to charge $400 for 4 seats.
Yeah.
I mean, they charge people hundreds, even more than 400, to stand in the pit, to stand for 4 hours, and like just in hopes of like
they'll be the first to sell out the pit too.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the American Airlines Arena for a concert that holds like 17,000 people.
Yeah.
You know, that's a lot more tickets than the 1,000 you were trying to pack into whatever venue you had.
And this is, you guys make such a great thing right here that I want to kind of allude to, is the fact that the Persian mindset doesn't ever value or respect having to pay $100 to $150 for even their favorite artists. They'll pay $150 to $200 for Shakira, but they won't pay it for like their favorite Shadman Aghili. They might like him, but their max is $50. You know, it's like, it's like, and the reason for it, it all goes back to also kind of the organizers' faults, because they put it at shitty venues, shitty sound, shitty lights, so your expectation is low. You don't mind paying $150 for Rihanna because you get quality production.
Exactly.
What I try to do,
yeah.
So what I try to do is I try to deliver on quality production, and people loved it, but they would only pay $50 for it. I remember like I was selling backstage VIP meet and greet for Sogan for $100. And Sogan 2 years ago was hot as shit.
Yeah.
And like I didn't even sell a single ticket. So like not even a diehard person, not even one.
Wow.
But guess how many people wanted free VIP to come meet her?
Everybody.
100,000 people wanted
that Persian discount. That discount.
The Persian discount.
Listen, we went to a Sami Begi concert. Sorry to interrupt. We went to Sami Begi concert last May in Orlando, and the concert ended. And you know, our group always like, at least my parents, like we stay even longer. We're like, yeah, how does town national whatever. So then the DJ was like, what do we do? Let's do a contest. You know, who the last 3 people that stay dancing or the best dancers get to meet Sami Begi backstage VIP. When I tell you, people were actually dancing, even ourselves, like to win that, when there was people literally knocking on the back door like, we went back there was literally,
and there was like 30 people back there.
30 people already that had met him and waiting to meet him without doing anything, and then there was people still dancing.
I earned this spot. But no, you can
exactly. Yeah. So it's also like the bargaining part of it. Our culture is
she's like, I earned this podcast.
I earned, like, you know.
That's true. We have a very big bargaining culture. I mean, you go to the bazaars in Iran.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they'll bargain it till it's free almost, or they pay you to leave them alone. But
so what I've decided to do, and again, listen, I really appreciate the Persian community. Like I would not be able to have what I have at EE and all that stuff if it wasn't for them. And I don't even blame them for kind of being jaded, because they've had bad, shitty concerts by unorganized promoters. So like we get, like I got the shit end of the stick because the people 10, 20 years before us put on crappy concerts. They put it at like a dirty ass Bethesda Holiday Inn. They put 1,000 people in a 500-person place, you know, packed sardines, horrible, warm experience. I was the one who I was like, man, I want to have the best quality sound, best quality light, best quality venue, best artist. But unfortunately, the financials didn't make sense. If it don't make sense, it don't make dollar either. So, or if it don't make dollar, it don't make sense actually.
Don't make dollar, it don't make sense. Exactly.
And so I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I really love Persians. I love our community. I want to use music as a way to bring us together. but I'll do it when I have my finances in order. I'll do it when there's people who want to step up to the plate and also partake in this and be sponsors, be contributors. It's got to be a community effort. It can't just be one. And I'm not just talking about DMD, Iman Huschmand. I'm talking about if one of you guys want to do it in South Florida, if there's a guy in Texas, New York, Texas, all these kind of places where there's like a Persian community.
Right.
It has to be that's kind of thing. You know, you cannot just
other cultures, you know, they spend money within their culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jewish, Latin, you know,
yes,
I know that stuff.
You know, they support each other. Where I feel like with Iranians sometimes, you know, they don't want to because, you know, they don't want people knowing their business for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, they just don't want people knowing their business. So that's kind of what I think. And to your point, the myriad of shitty concerts that, and the problem is with those shitty concerts, the artist was such a popular artist of its time. I'm talking about Mansoor in the early 2000s, Kamran and Human in those days. Those guys were in the Iranian community mega stars at that time, and the venues they were in would, at least down here, were horrible.
Well, I think at the time the promoters took advantage of the stardom and fame. They knew that these artists are big names, so they can, you know, almost half-ass their production value because they know people are just going to come pay the money to come see them because it's so rare for an artist to come. Like whenever Gugush would come, it would like instantly sell out, and it wouldn't matter where you are.
Well, they put Gugush at the Adrian Arts Center, and it still didn't sell out.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that was
they put her in a better venue.
Well, yeah, I mean. That's probably the reason back then they you know abused the stardom of these artists.
I mean if you were a concert organizer in the 90s and 2000 in like one of the main cities in America, in North America, whatever, you were probably killing it. And there were some people that were taking full advantage of it. Not to say that all the organizers were shitty people, but some of them, they took advantage of it. You know, they put it in cheap venues, shitty sound, overpriced, under-delivered. But they walked away with a shitload of money, you know?
Yeah,
like,
they probably weren't doing it for the culture, more so the money. Profit, come in, get out, you know, take the money and leave.
So, but I think also going back to really quickly, social media also is a big aspect again, because now if a promoter was to pull something off like that, word of mouth, number one, people will talk about how terrible it was. Number two, people would go on Yelp or Google reviews or their Twitter or their Instagram and just shit on the person. Just talk about how bad it was, use hashtags. Instantly, it would become a huge thing. One video of a failed event would go all over the internet and everyone would know, you know? So it's easier now. I mean, I guess it was easier back then to have, you know, bad, cheap events and get away with it versus now. They're
similar to like restaurants. As soon as Yelp came, restaurants had to step up their game because you started taking care of your clients like shit. And like the reason why I was so upset about the Rubber Girl is there was like 1,000, 1,100 people at that concert. And she complained about the fact that Sogan got on stage at like 10 o'clock or something. And like the doors open at 8. It's like, what main artist in American or Western world do you go and 8 o'clock doors open and at 8:30 you think fucking Beyonce's getting on stage playing single ladies at 8:45 and leaves at 10? So of course, and plus so we have a bar minimum to hit. Like, so there's all these factors that people don't ever consider.
Money driven.
Yeah. All money driven. They don't
also, we're Iranian. We run on Persian Standard Time.
Exactly.
Concert exactly. Like, they're not gonna get there at 8.
I think doors open at 8 with the singer getting on 10 is like perfect timing, especially because it was at Echo Stage, which has been voted as the #1 club in America for like 3 years out of 10. So I put her at the best stage in America, and the ones like the kind of venue that like when Tiesto comes on, he comes on at midnight. You know, like and here comes our
3 hours with the
easily
concerts.
I think I went to a story one time and you know, doors open whenever, and they were supposed to come out at 9. They didn't show up till 1 a.m. And
I
you know,
believe
how it is.
People still stayed because they
know what? Same thing happened to me when I went to South Beach to the club waiting for 50 Cent. He came out at 1 a.m. I got there, you know, 10:30.
And that's what you would expect from a 50 Cent or like Lil Wayne. Because you have to just make sure you're not too drunk by the time you actually get on stage.
So to kind of shift gears a little bit, because of what the world is right now, we can't really have weddings and events and things like that. You started this podcast, Unite and Conquer, and I've always kind of seen you trying to put positivity out there, whether it's helping people during the holidays or, you know, just putting out positivity on your social medias and things like that. So how did this come to fruition, the Unite and Conquer?
I think I would have to say from my failures. Like, I feel like when I was kind of down and out, I was like, I can either be like this freaking victim that's going to complain and whine and like, khak tu salam, ridam, all that stuff, part of my French. Or I could just be like, hey man, let's pick up your stuff, like use it as a great learning experience, use it as a building block. First of all, it humbled the hell out of me. And like, I feel like the only way that you can really not just survive, but thrive is if you let go of your ego, that you truly humble yourself. You kind of accept the fact that shitty things are going to happen in your life, but you use all those as a learning experience. And I use it as an opportunity to join forces with a lot of other people that I respect, that are hustling, that are entrepreneurs. I mean, entrepreneurs are the backbone of this country. They're the backbone of the world. You know, I mean, if you're deciding to sacrifice an easy every 2-week kind of check, sacrificing your family and all that stuff to go after your dream, that's respect. You know, like that's like, that to me is like, you're after soldiers. That is the ultimate sacrifice that somebody makes. The fact that you can easily taking
the big risks.
Taking a big risk. And so I was like, man, I want to be like the ultimate networking opportunity. I want to be able to use I want my mess to be my message. I want to be able to use my failures as a way that I like kind of reciprocate and help out other people, you know? And I have this mindset that, you know, you get out of this world, whatever you put in it. So if you're going to put out negativity, you're going to get negativity. So I switched my mindset a couple of years ago. I just saw my entire feed being full of bullshit, a lot of politics, a lot of like people complaining and whining. And I was like, you know, Iman, like if you're going to put something out, put a smile on somebody's face. If you're going to put something out, let it be like a motivational thing. Like not like too much cheesy and too much like you're shoving it down someone's throat, but sprinkle it out nice and evenly and just put out good energy. Because for me, yes, it helps other people, but really it helps me too. Like when I see something that kind of like revs my engine up, I'm like, you know what, let me put this out there, and maybe like one other person will be like, yeah. And like I get my fair share of messages on the side, and I see the impact that it has, so it kind of just fuels me more. Some people they get annoyed by it, like some of my friends, they tease me about it, but I don't give a shit about those people. I care about the one fucking person that says, man, Iman, I've been down in the slumps, I needed to hear that, you're speaking my words. And so I'm like, all right, cool, well let me, if my fucked upness can help somebody else, then let me put it out there. Because I have no ego.
And those people coming to you and talking shit are probably disappointed themselves about something.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just don't want to hear the message.
It all stems from internal sadness and grief that they have, that they're upset that why can't I be like him? Exactly. But touching on what you said about ego, because I know again in your podcast you talked about vulnerability, and you said your story and you know your life story, and how ego was a really big factor in that kind of crash in your business, in your company last year. And you said you went on a soul searching journey, right? So I feel like a lot of people nowadays are like, oh, I'm trying to find myself, I'm trying to do soul searching, I'm like meditating, I'm doing this and doing that. But I want to know what soul searching was for you, what that journey was actually like, because a lot of people will say it and they think it's just on the surface level, where if I meditate and do yoga and do something calming and
get
drink
off social media for the weekend,
right, then I'll be like a humble person again. But I don't think they realize that you really have to go deep in like your insecurities to figure out what to fix and who you are. So what was that like for you, like that journey?
Man, I love that question. First of all, I think that everybody spends all their life really just constantly trying to learn from themselves, figure out, you know, like where they could improve. And for me, I think you would hope. I mean, here's the thing. I just feel like we all have a little compass inside of us. And that compass, if you really actually take the time to listen to it, it will guide you to the right place. And like, if you really spend the time to listen, it will tell you to follow your heart, follow your passion. It's so cheesy, so cliche, I get it. But like the only way that you can make sense of life and kind of just keep on going and make sure that you have that fuel that is necessary to make it through all the crappy parts of life is that you want to make an impact in somebody else's life. I feel like most people, they just want to be able to know that their life matters, that what they're doing matters, that like they're making their family happy, they're making their family proud, that they're contributing to society. Like I just feel like innately that's what we all
want to be remembered.
They want to, I mean, and you know what? Some people will actually argue, because I have this whole conversation about legacy, you know, and some people, they're like, No, I don't care about legacy, but I do have a legacy. I want to have a legacy. I feel like, look at how many people die every single day and like they're forgotten. Yeah. And I'm like, I refuse to have been given the greatest gift, which I believe is life itself, to be able to be a part of like the minority. There's a lot of people who don't even have water, food, they don't even have an opportunity to chase their dreams. You know what I mean? Like they're literally waiting for an opportunity to have a drop of water so they can live the next day. So
there
if
are
all of us over here,
people like that.
Like if you are able to have one of these, have electricity, talk in front of a computer, you are amongst the 10% in the world that 90% don't get to appreciate or love. You know, so I feel like we have an obligation to kind of like fight for those 90%, make our life worthy, make it valuable, make it impactful, so that hopefully everybody has the opportunity to have the same opportunities that all of us have right here. You know, the fact that you guys spend a part of your evening to do this, to have these conversations, put out this great vibe in the world, that means that we're aligned. We're aligned, and we want to be able to encourage everybody else that watches to do the same thing, man. Just do the same exact thing. Like, wake up every morning happy. Like, one of the greatest things, even in my, like, I've been in the abyss. Like, when you lose over $1 million in a couple of years, and like, trust me, I didn't have 10 million in the bank, or else I wouldn't be struggling. So like, if I lost $1 million in like a year and a half, it really crippled me. And like, when it crippled me, it actually affected my ability to take care of my parents during the twilight of their life. So like, I have the ultimate disappointment in myself is the fact that, man, I had everything set for them, you know? I had everything set to them, and then I gambled it away, which is a horrible feeling to have. And now here I am trying to like make shit happen again, and then COVID happens. But the point is that I still love the fact that I have the opportunity to wake up every single day and like I dictate what's going to happen today in my life. You know, nobody else will, you know, and I will grind. I will gladly grind. There's not a single day that I get up where I'm like, oh man, shucks, I hate my life. I don't go to sleep regretting everything. I'm like, hey man, life has its ebbs and flows, and here I am doing my best. And as long as you put out good energy in the world, I just know that everything else will fall in place, you know? So that's kind of the mindset that I have, and I want everybody else to just kind of like join on board. And that's Unite and Conquer, man. Like that's lit by its name, by its nature, by its mission and its vision. That's exactly what it is, you know?
Have you heard of Humans of New York? Because it's kind of
like the Instagram story, like that has all the stories, that's beautiful stories about.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's very different than what you're doing.
I haven't heard it for a while, but yeah, keep on talking about it. Remind me, refresh my memory.
Right. So at one point he started based in New York, and he would just go up to random people and ask them like truly deeply, like, you know, just different questions, and to get on like a personal level, like what's something someone who hasn't met you, you know, wouldn't know technically. And he actually like went all around the world. He went to Iran at one point, and like, I love the page. It's so cute. If you have no one's seen it, you have to, but that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from, you know, you're sharing like a deeper personal level of people's struggles, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think we all have our challenges. We all have our struggles, you know, and like the more that we all share them, the more human we become. If we don't share them, that means that we want to act like our shit don't stink. But the reality of the fact,
in a system or something like,
I mean, like I don't know why, like I just cannot wait until everything is flipped upside down and we accept our shortcomings, we accept our imperfections, you know, like
that's how you have growth. That's how you have growth.
Yeah, big time. And like, you know, like, and you know what really breaks my heart the most is the fact that, okay, fine, I lost a lot of fucking money, but I don't have any mental health issues. Like, you would think that you would have mental health issues after you lose so much money, you lose so much, everything that I've worked hard for, you know, and I've worked my ass off. Like, I haven't had a day off in, I think, 7 years, you know, and I don't even mind. I don't complain it because work is not work for me. Right. Like, it's just a part of my life, you know, and yet I know that there are people that are literally taking their life away as we speak because they feel they're not worthy, because they feel like they haven't contributed to life. And every single person has something they can offer to this world, you know? And like, that's the part that I'm like, man, we need to get rid of the stigma. We need to like continue having conversations about mental health. Like, why are people, like, if for me, like what boggles my mind is the fact that it's so easy for us to dismiss somebody as being crazy. There's no being as somebody just being crazy. It's
if you don't understand them, they just call them crazy, you know.
Oh my God, it's so easy. And I'm so glad that there's been a shift. Like, dude, 10, 20, 30 years ago, there's been so many people making fun of the people that are crazy, and people have literally taken their life. Crazy. Yeah.
Anything they don't understand or that's mental health related, they label it as crazy. I mean, I don't like
Yeah.
talking about this, but quick example, like Kanye, he has
Oh
bipolar
yeah,
disorder,
big
right?
time.
So
Big
everyone
time.
talks about how he's crazy and he comes on, he starts crying about his daughter's abortion, but he needs
Yeah.
help. And I
Yeah,
think that's
real
what
does.
people don't realize. He needs
I
He
mean,
does.
we live in like a meme culture. So like anytime something happens that's out of the norm, everyone just makes jokes out of it. And these are the jokes that people see online
Yeah.
about them, and they do take their lives
Oh, for
because
sure.
they're not getting the help they need and deserve.
To piggyback off of that, you did the the episode with Jasmine
Mhm.
about kind of her real story. Are you planning to do more episodes like that with other people in Unite and Conquer?
So
And Jasmine, to clarify, is the co-host of your podcast, right? Just so our
yeah,
listeners.
we were doing the Let's Get Shit Done podcast
Because
together.
personally,
Yeah.
I listened to
So
that and I was like, that's me. Aside from being a female in the workplace, but
I got that part.
yeah, you got that part.
I resonated with one
But
part of her
everything she
story.
said
He
about her
resonated.
Really?
upbringing and the way things went for her, I was like, yeah, I completely understand where she's coming from.
yeah, so on one hand, that Unite and Conquer, like that what we created is called a brand story video, right? And that's literally if someone's gonna ask, hey, Unite and Conquer, what service do you provide? On one hand, we do podcasts, we're here to educate, entertain, and all that stuff. But if someone's gonna pay us to do something, we're here to tell your brand story, like the true story behind your brand, right? So again, we're helping entrepreneurs. So to answer your question, yes. We want to be able to tell the Jasmine stories of the world, Jasmine and Moji, her mom, like, so if you're an entrepreneur and like you're doing something because of something, like easily they could just advertise Boasty CBD hair serum. The texture is great. It smells wonderful. It makes your hair nice and soft. You could do that, or you can make a video like we do, and like, so if you are going to go ahead and just, put everything on the line and you're going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to be a small business owner, then fucking tell your story, man. Tell us exactly why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, because people might have a great product, but they might not have any idea how to explain it or promote it or market it. And so,
Or why they even started doing that or selling that product or making that product.
People buy from people that they trust, people that they know, or people that they emotionally connect
People
with,
buy from people.
People buy from people, I mean, like, that's why there's no other reason why Steve Jobs and Apple became what it was, is because Steve Jobs just had this ability to connect with people in a different way. Anybody can just make a little computer or something cool and whatever, but like the way that he presented, the way he shared his story, like he was a storyteller. And like, I want everybody to become a storyteller. And the storytelling starts with telling your own story authentically, vulnerably, without a sense of insecurity. It's like accepting the fact that everybody's story is special. Everybody's stories has trials and tribulations. And the moment that you get rid of that ego, because it's ego that prevents you from wanting to share it, right? Or else, like, I don't want people to know this. Why? Because you got ego.
Yeah.
You have to put your ego aside. You have to put your balls out, ladies. Sorry, but you know what I mean? I'd be like, hey, hamine ke hasta? Like, really, like, literally, hamine ke hasta? نمیخوای را باز جاده دراز, را باز جاده دراز. I mean, like, you're not here to satisfy 8 billion people on earth. If you're an entrepreneur, all you really want, all you need, in my opinion, if you have a product or a service, you need 1,000 true fans, 1,000 people that truly are all about you, all about your product, all about your service. If they believe in you, if they believe in your story, if they want to truly support you, that 1,000 people, they can be all around the world. I don't care what the hell you're selling. That 1,000 people will go out on the rooftops and they will tell 1 million people combined.
I'm having a hard time telling my closest friends to even watch one of our videos. So.
Well, hey, just remember that success doesn't come overnight either, So like, it's something that takes literally months and months, years and years to accrue a following, And I don't know what you guys are doing on your social medias individually, but I highly encourage you guys to really connect. If you have 300, 500, 1,000 social media followers across your TikToks and Instagram, the more that you communicate with them, the more you tell them about what means a lot to you, I promise you, you're going to get the views that you want. You're going to get the response that you want. Trust me, I'm guilty of it too. I don't spend enough time of doing exactly what I'm saying, but I know that like, this is the greatest gift that has been given to us. It's social media. It's the freest form for us to express our feelings, express our thoughts. And there is always going to be somebody out there that resonates with you, And so like, as the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to get people that really believe in you. And those people will then tell other people. And that's how it's all organic. Anybody who gets to 1 million followers or fans overnight, I promise you, they crash overnight as well.
Yeah.
You go back, you go and look at everybody's social media, people that have millions of people, and you go find out their story, they will tell you that this is 10, 20 years in the making.
Mhm.
They didn't start last week. If you got famous overnight, yeah.
Well, you look at, for example, NBA players, the ones who say, you know, they started playing basketball in high school. Those guys never make it. They'll make it maybe to the NBA because of their height or their whatever, you know, talent they have in college. But it's the guys who make it in the NBA, for example, are the ones who've been playing since they could pick up a basketball.
It's all they know. It's like
you know the magic number, guys, right? It's 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't know
10,000 hours.
I saw a quote.
A lot
today.
of podcasting. That's all I have to say.
There you go. A lot of
It's a lot of talking.
I saw a quote today that said, it takes 20 years to build up a reputation with hard work, and it takes 5 minutes to completely ruin it. If you think about that in your head, you would do everything differently. And that like hit me hard. And it was for like a quality training for my work. And nothing to do with that. But they were saying like in our products, and this applies to everything in life, it takes you 20 years to build up this product, your reputation as a company, as a human being. And then you do one thing wrong, 5 minutes of it, something goes wrong, and then all of that is gone. So you have to keep that in mind. And, you know,
especially in today's cancel culture, you know?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Especially in today's
People
cancel culture.
are quick to go on Twitter and just start canceling you, and
Exactly.
and people went on Twitter recently to cancel Robert Downey Jr. for what was the movie where he did blackface, but he did it as a parody. Tropic Thunder.
But it was an older movie, right?
Yeah, but people who
But
didn't
it
watch the movie didn't
resurfaced now,
understand.
yeah.
He was literally making fun of people doing blackface in movies because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, so some of the cancel culture is truly getting a little bit ridiculous. But in general, somebody who spends 10, 20 years building a reputation, as long as the foundation was ethical, moral, with good intentions, you really have to do something magnificently fucked up to have one situation mess up. The only people whose reputation is completely wiped out because of one thing is because their foundation was fragile from the get-go. You know, and so like you lead with your heart, you lead with good intentions, and you go with like basic principles of humanity, equality, kindness. You're going to be forgiven for any major mistake, especially if you come back and you apologize authentically, genuinely, and like sincerely. You know, like you can tell when somebody apologizes and it's just a bullshit apology.
It's like from a script, they're reading it.
Yeah, a PR written kind of stuff. You know, like we at the end of the day, especially in this country, it's a very forgiving country, which is great because it's a land of second chances, not just a land of opportunity, but a land of second chances. So like here, people can detect if somebody is bullshitting. If somebody does a sincere apology, they're like, dude, I'm not perfect. I messed up. Even these famous people, they mess up. You know, so as long as you focus on the core reputation stuff, where you do really good stuff, it'll always pay off at the end, man. Good things happen to good people. I'm a huge believer on it.
I have two quick questions on this topic, and then I know Arta has some questions about like the business side of.
Oh, I can't wait for Arta's question.
But
pen in hand.
I know, right? I'm gonna do the quick emotional ones.
I used to have your fair fetty hair, man. Then I shaved it off for sake of saving money on gel. Go ahead.
Okay, there, I forgot. I'm thinking about the gel now and all the hair product shopping. But
oh my god.
So Arash sent us actually the video of Jasmine's brand, of her CBD hair brand video. And at first I was like, okay, I'm watching like an emotional story of this girl and this other woman who's probably her mom, and like the hardships they went through as fellow Iranians, which always is upsetting. Not gonna lie, that video made me cry. But watching the video, I was like, okay, this has got to lead to something. It's not just a video about a sad story. And I noticed like the close-up of the hair oil when she's doing her hair in the mirror, and she kept touching her hair when she was writing and stuff like that. So that's her story that you turn into her brand story, which makes customers resonate with that and want to buy her products. But how do you create that story when you work with a customer? Like, obviously I'm sure you're close with her, so it's different, but with other brands, like, do you tell them like, hey, what's your story, give it to us in a Google Doc and we're gonna, come up with a production? Or how does that
I love
right?
that
I don't
question.
know anything about
question.
it, so I'm
no,
asking.
Of course not. We definitely just asked him to Dropbox it instead. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, okay.
So no, but here's so this is what we call brand therapy. And so the brand therapy is that we literally spend multiple like 1 to 2 hour sessions, and we have these real conversations with people. You know, like when we have an entrepreneur in front of us, we dig deep. Like we literally go 7 layers deep. You know, like I ask you something, I say why. So you answer that, I say why. You answer it, I say why. I get to the root. We get literally to the root of why you're an entrepreneur. It goes back to the whole fact is that you don't just become an entrepreneur because you think corporate 9 to 5 sucks and now I just want to be my own boss. No, if you really are an entrepreneur and like you were born to be an entrepreneur and not just because you're lazy and you want an easy route away, you're doing it because there's something inside of you that says this is what I'm destined to do, you know? And like a lot of people, they don't even realize that they don't even know their own story until we talk to them. And then we go in and they're like, oh my God, like I was doing a brand story with my sister who's an interior designer. It turns out it's the fact that like her environment means the world to her. If she's not in an environment in a home that is like feng shui, if she's not in an environment where there's international people around her, if she's not near the beach, she can't even think creatively or design anything. She didn't know that. She just thought she liked interior design because she liked little fancy colors of whatever and whatever. So like we literally like had her do her aha moment.
Yeah, like I watched that in your podcast episode of the stories, and I'm like, damn, like what's my story? Like I don't have a story, you know. I was like, I was born here, Iranian American. That's it. Like, what's my story? It made me think. I was like,
I assure you, there's more to your story, and
I mean, I'm
your
sure
story
everyone
will continue
does.
to evolve. Yeah, your story will continue to evolve. You know,
Man, I think you need to charge per hour because it's a 2-for-1 win-win. You get your brand sold and you get a therapy session.
Exactly. There you go. You help people solve.
Do you take insurance?
And you know,
it's
I mean, and this is what I love about it, you know, it's like, because I'm truly rooting, like I consider all entrepreneurs as like the underdog, you know, because they have to be the underdog because they come in at a major disadvantage. They come in from day one where they say goodbye 9 to 5 or bi-weekly paycheck. They are officially the underdog. That means that they're under the gun. They're behind the 8 ball. The pressure's on them. Their family is saying, what the fuck are you doing? How could you possibly be setting everything aside that you studied for? You did this. And it's off to the races, you know? So like, it's a constant race to let me make it. Let me prove everybody wrong, you know? And so like, they need this conversation. And I love having that conversation. Why? Because I cannot wait to see that person make it, you know? And like that, they become like my like
your little babies.
My favorite child. Yeah, my favorite child. I mean, that's what it is. Like from that moment, my team and I were rooting for them, you know, because that becomes a success story. You know, that becomes them truly finding their purpose in life. And like, I feel like if you can help somebody else find their purpose in life, man, I'm good to go in this life. I feel like that's it. Like I can say, hey, I can have that person give my eulogy,
your legacy
and done deal. You know, that's it.
And everything.
So that's question 1 answered. Hopefully I answered it. What's the second question?
I mean, okay, the second question I was debating, but it doesn't really fit. I guess it kind of fits into here, but I was going to ask, what are 3 things that you would tell your 18-year-old self, like after everything you've been through? I guess it kind of relates to this, but I want to get the emotional stuff out of the way before we get
Shit. I like that question. 18-year-old self, I would say.
Or 17.
I was gonna say,
you said you started stuff
to preface
at 17.
that, we did an episode of what would you tell yourself 5 years ago?
5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, so
that's
in my
like
case, it'd be 13 years ago. No, but I'll go back to 17. Okay. 17, I would definitely say that, Iman, you're about to go from having no friends to having 1,000 supposedly friends. Don't let that get into your head, because it got into my head, whether it was like friends or whether it was attention from girls, whatever it was, like I let it all get to my head. Like it derailed me from the path that I was going. Like I just thought I was going the right direction, and I write a lot of poetry, and ironically I came across my book of poems from 20 years ago, from I was 17, 18, 19, 20, and like just the things that I was like kind of like writing, I was like, wow, my mindset completely shifted when I kind of became this little big deal of a DJ in the Persian community. Like, it's nothing of a nothing. Like, imagine if I was actually a celebrity in America, like, holy shit, what would happen, you know? So I let nothing become something more than it should have, you know? So the first thing is, Iman, stay grounded. That's part 1. The second thing that I would tell myself at age 17 is...
one day you're going to shave off your curly hair and regret it? Okay.
The curly hair was good years, man. I loved it. But with this goddamn heat of Miami, like I can't handle. I don't know how
The
you do it, man.
humidity.
It's
Don't
so
even get
humid.
me on
I
that.
don't know how you do it, man.
A
But,
lot of spray, a lot of frizz spray.
a lot of spray. The second thing that I would say is, man, I love this question. I
Oh,
wanna
good.
make
You're
sure-
thinking and you were
What you're
frozen again.
thinking, yeah.
No, yeah, I'm
Crash's
sorry. I didn't mean to-
face went
I
from
didn't mean to-
smiling to
I didn't
like.
mean to. I didn't mean to scare you guys off.
Please be moving at all times.
Shit, I would say the second thing is
Even if
You
you
know,
have
so-
two, that's okay.
okay. Yeah, thank God, because I can only think of one more.
That's
probably.
okay. Yeah.
You know, like I think when you kind of get older, you kind of come. This is not, I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer here, but like literally just 2 nights ago, lost a family friend of mine, 52 years old. I mean, family, like 52-year-old, heart attack, and like I feel like there's been a lot of these in the last 10, 15 years. Thank you, man. And there's just like so many people that leave us so soon, you know. And when you're 18, 17, 19, 20, in your 20s, you think you're invincible, you know, like you go out and you drink and you drive home and you do party and do this and you dibble dabble and like drugs and shit. And like, you just think that you're invisible, you know? And so like, I feel like I dodged a lot of bullets in my 20s, especially being around. I mean, thank God I was one of the good guys, meaning like, I didn't get into like really bad shit.
Yeah.
Like, but like just the fact that, you know, I did probably over 1,000 events in my 20s or 18, 19, like I dodged a lot of bullets. I drank driving home when I shouldn't have, like things that I regret looking back because like, man, I put somebody else's life in jeopardy. I had people in my car. Like there's just a lot of stupid shit that unfortunately people do. So if I could go back, I would be like, don't take that. There was no Uber back then. So you kind of just kind of like winged it, you know?
Call your mom.
Yeah. So the last thing I would do is that, but yeah.
Bro,
But
don't make my mistake and age yourself.
What'd you, so I was like, so I think I would just say kind of just be more responsible. So those are 2 things. That
Like
I said.
have
Be more
fun, but be
responsible.
mindful about it.
Yeah, be like basically like anything can be taken away from you in literally a split of a second. So I genuinely consider myself extremely lucky that during those years where, you know, you're kind of prone to doing stupid shit, that I'm able to kind of look back at it and be like, wow, one of these, you know. And there's a lot of people who have lost their siblings or their family members or a good friend because they weren't so lucky and fortunate. So I would just kind of go back and say, don't take that shit for granted. You know, like be safe, be considerate, be kind. Boom.
Great. I love that.
Very
There you
well
go.
put.
Heavy stuff, man, but real.
Thanks, man. Nice question.
Arash, Mata, anything you want to ask before I transition into my?
We're gonna make a very awkward transition to Arta's question.
I know. We'll go from the emotional to the straight up business.
So
Let's do it.
okay, Iman. So for an aspiring entrepreneur, I you know, that's something I've always wanted to do at the age of 17, 18. I had my own online shoe selling business. I would buy shoes, resell them out, and it went well for a few years until I got scammed out of it. And then it, you know, I got
just like my nephew, he got robbed at knife point. But go ahead.
I almost, yeah. So it discouraged me and I got out of it. So just a few questions, you know, if you want to get into the realm of entrepreneurship and let's say you're working your 9-to-5 job and that's something you want to now fully transition to. So initially, like how hard was it to like raise funds for the business and how much like did you have to sacrifice like financially in the beginning? Like, did you have to go into a hole or did you maybe like for you were DJing, did you save up gradually as you were going and then full in jumped in, or how did that go?
Yeah. So my road to entrepreneurship technically happened around 16, 17 when I decided I wanted to do this whole DJ business. And I didn't want to do it alone. So I kind of brought my cousin on board. I was like, hey, Jiman, these guys are fucking DJing and making $500 for pressing play and stop. And $500 for a 16-year-old in 1996 was a lot. And it's still a lot of money. Like $500 to play.
Yeah, $500 in 96 is a lot of money.
It's still a lot. And it's still a lot. I think so.
It's still a lot to so many people, yeah.
But
I mean, I would imagine back then it was like
it really is.
And
yeah, exactly. And even then it was just like amazing. But honestly, like money was never a motivating factor for me. I thought I could do a better job of that DJ at my cousin's wedding. And I loved music and I was like, let me try it. And I wanted my cousin to be partners with me 50-50. And I was like, hey, let's go 50-50. He's like, no, thank you. And then I was like, how about this? I'll take care of all the expenses. Whatever we make, I'll take 75%. You take 25%. He couldn't say no to that. Right. Now to answer your question, Arta, as far as the money. So for whatever reason, at age 13, 14, I actually started working a lot. My parents had a restaurant. I was working there, so I was making tips. So I had made some money, not like a lot of money, but for me to get a couple of speakers, a little DJ equipment, and just a couple of dirty ass lights, it was like a $2,000 to $3,000 investment. And as Persian parents, they're always very supportive. So in some shape or form, I pitched in a little bit. My parents chipped in, and within a few $1,000s, I started a DJ business. And then I pretty much spent between 17 and 22, 23, making tens of thousands of dollars because we became these like popular DJs. So I had kind of like this advantage of making a lot of money in a short amount of time. So I kind of was able to kickstart my business. My advice to you is start small. I mean, that's like the most important thing, is that you have to start small. And if you don't have the money up front, figure out a way to either create a nice business plan that has like a SWOT analysis, like your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, your threats. Go in with a master plan where you actually like show that you care about what you're doing, that you know what you're doing, that you know your marketplace, and then present it to any of your family, friends, your rich uncle, and be like, hey, this is my situation. Can you support me? And I promise you that if you go in with a nice presentation, that if you go in there passionately, educated, like truly educated in a topic, like show, it could even be shoes again. You know, only because what you did 5 years ago when you kind of tried small time didn't work out, that might still be your passion. The most important thing is
different perspective now.
Different perspective. You're mature. You learn from that. I mean, look, back then, just like I told you, my nephew Parsa, he got dejected from this stuff because he lost all that money. He lost $400 and he got held up at knife point. He's like, fuck this, I'm done with this shit, you know? But now there's ways for you to sell it online, for you to be able to like, you really make it a legitimate business. You can make a cool brand about it, you know? So if raising funds, and I'm not talking about 100,000, if you're just trying to raise 5, 10, 15, 20,000 and you don't have it, I would say go in as professionally as possible. Professionally is a business plan. Professionally is doing your due diligence, research, and go in there with like a great presentation that will truly impress your, not even like uncle, but like a family friend or somebody that you know that could like chip in. And if you want to give them a little piece of the pie, then do it. But I would first start with somebody who like truly believes in you, somebody that has always like rooted for you, and hopefully they'll be able to just kind of chip in. And then hopefully when your business picks up,
Arta just GPS to my address.
Yeah, that's funny you say that, because like whenever I ask money from my dad and just straight up ask, he wouldn't give it to me. But if I gave him from A to Z all the pros and cons and this and that, he'd be like, okay, that makes more sense, and then he'd give it up.
Yeah,
so,
man. Especially Persian dads, they would appreciate a Persian businessman or businesswoman mentality, you know. So it's all about anything in life, man. It's all about the approach. You know, if you, whatever you approach in life with time, effort, sincerity, and just like due diligence, you know, like I feel like you're always going to come out on top because you have an advantage over people who are trying to cut corners, who are trying to take the shortcut. There is no shortcut to success.
Right.
You know, that's really what it comes down to.
You can't cut corners, right? It's hard work. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So going into my next question, with your whole DJ and then going to EE. So how long did it take to get things running, and how long till you saw, you know, your profit, you know, go up exponentially?
Yeah, so EE, it took about 2 years. I still remember like when I started, like I got all the equipment. I had like my 8 DJ set up. I put out all these full page ads in the freaking Persian newspaper. Big mistake. Don't waste money on Persian newspaper. This is like 13 years ago. You know, like I had all this stuff ready, like good to go. Had bought all this nice equipment, had my truck ready to go. 6 months went by and there wasn't a single person that was calling me. Like I was literally just looking. I was like, man, I'm just waiting for one phone call.
You were calling yourself from another phone to see if it was working.
Yeah. Oh man, I have no doubt I was doing whatever to make myself feel better. I can honestly tell you guys that I was probably weeks, maximum months away from just being like, this was just not meant to be. I still remember that I was offering free DJ services because I was like, I feel like there's more value in me paying $200 to one of my DJs to go to an event, to DJ in front of 50 people, because I knew that my DJ was good. Those 50 people will dance. One person will book us. And I literally did that. I did it.
And that'll pay for that.
Yeah. And I was like, I get to keep my DJs busy. I get my DJs get more experience. And then boom, like we get to at least show people what we got, you know, because I always said that when it comes to especially entertainment, I can put a full page ad in the Miami Sentinel or Washington Post, whatever it may be, spend $10,000, but it doesn't mean that a single bride would be like, oh, let's hire these people. That's not how entertainment or entertainers, it's all word of mouth. It's word of mouth and in-person experience of whatever it is. Yeah, exactly. So for me, like, it really took about 6 months to just get my first gig. And like the first year, I remember the revenue was 6,000. My expenses were like 20, 30,000. The second year in 2010, revenue jumped to about 20,000. And my expenses were probably like 20,000 too. 2011, it jumped to about 60,000. 2012, it hit over 100,000. So really, it took about 3-4 years for me to actually become profitable.
Right.
And that's really
patience and persistence.
Oh my God. And for the
So
first
hard.
2 years of it, the first 2 years, I was working at a place called Washington Sports Club, which was a gym. I had just come back from Doha, Qatar. I'd gotten my 2 master's degrees and the only job that I could get right out of the recession in 2009 is working for a gym. And I remember I was wiping down freaking gym seats and shit like that, like cleaning up stuff. I was a general manager of a gym. And I was first an assistant general manager, but then it moved to general manager to a smaller club. But while I was starting Exclusive Entertainment, I was doing a $17 per hour job because that's what I had to do. I was like, I cannot just keep on twiddling my thumb, waiting.
Bills don't stop, my friend.
The bills don't stop, you know? So I was like, I had to do it. And, but these are the sacrifices that entrepreneurs make. Like, I'm not the only person. This is not an anomaly. This is how it is. Like, unless you're blessed to have parents that will kind of just invest in anything you're doing, this is the grind that you have to kind of put in. And then finally, about 1.5 years into Washington Sports Club, I was doing so much EE work behind the scenes that they saw my work deteriorate. They're like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man. You're paying more attention to whatever side gig you're doing.
Wow.
I was pretty much relieved of my duties. I don't think they called it fire, but it was
You were
peace out.
resigned.
Yeah, exactly. Slowly but sure.
They wanted to let you pursue your dreams. They were doing
It
you
was a
favor.
blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Really.
Oh, for sure.
Should have been like,
Right.
okay, if you fully like see that in me, do you want to invest? Like clearly,
So now
there's
you've done your,
something there.
like you
They
said, you've done
definitely do.
thousands of events. You've done your fair share of weddings. I'm sure you got some interesting pieces there, of interesting stories, I should say.
Oh, Lord. So I'll tell you one unfortunate thing. There was one wedding. I don't know why this one comes to mind. There's so many stories, but I'll tell you this one quickly. So first of all, like what obsessed me the most is bride and grooms who care more about the most materialistic parts of a wedding instead of caring what is truly the real reason of a union. And that is like, dude, you just fucking found your soulmate in life. Like, who the fuck cares about the venue? Who the fuck cares about alcohol? Who cares about the guests, this and that? And like the spending so much money on flowers. Like, if you're not aligned with that other human being that you have decided to like commit yourself to in front of your loved ones, then forget about everything else. Focus on the relationship and nothing else matters. And I remember like this one wedding, it was at the Ritz-Carlton. They spent a shitload of money on this and this and that. They got all the bells and whistles from us. It wasn't Reza and Hannah's wedding, by the way.
I was
just
gonna
FYI.
say, like,
Now,
should
what
I
is
be
it?
worried right now?
Like now that I've done so many weddings at those Ritz-Carltons, but this is a different one. And it was actually a smaller wedding. It was maybe like 100 people. And I forgot what the reason was, but there was probably like 20 people missing that had never told the bride and groom. And so, yes, there was definitely empty spots. And like this bride and the groom, before they're about to walk in, usually when I was hosting back, it's like 8 years ago, I used to be outside. I kind of got them all excited. I told them what's going to happen. Hey, guys, I'm going to go inside right now. I'm going to welcome you guys. Be happy, blah, blah, blah. And they were right where like the guest table, like the placeholders were of all the guests. They were so consumed with the fact that there was like 20 people that had not redeemed it. And they were so upset that people, which I understand, like it's rude. You cannot like say you're going to a wedding and then don't show up. I mean,
Every
literally
plate costs money.
Yeah.
it does, especially Ritz-Carlton, $200. So I get it, you know?
Oh my god.
But literally this couple let that ruin their entire wedding night. Instead of focusing on the 80 people that were actually there, they were so focused on the 20 people that were not, that no matter how many times I try to check in on them, they literally ruined their own wedding day. And like for me, like the moral of the story is the fact that, man, you can always focus on the negative things in life, the negative things of what's happening, or you can appreciate exactly what the hell you have and what's going good for you, you know? And so for me, one situation that kind of just comes in mind, but there's been a lot of Bridezilla stories too, man. But
I'm sure.
yeah,
I'm sure the wedding planners get the brunt of it. You get maybe a filtered version.
Oh man, I mean, like there are so many. And here's my advice to any, not just bride, but there's groomzillas too. But sometimes, most of the time, it's bridezillas because it's such a more important day for brides, obviously. And that is that like you need to just seize the moment. You need to truly like just make the best out of what's going on. And like a lot of like bride and grooms I call it good stress. You know, they get so stressed. I'm like, oh, this is good stress. There are people that are planning funerals. You're planning a fucking wedding, you know, this is celebratory. Like, stop inviting people that you think that your parents want you to invite. Do you make yourself happy, especially now that I'm like 40.
That's like, the part right there. It's the one your parents want to invite.
I'm like already concerned about that part. Like, feko nazishte. This person has to come nazishte, and that person has to come. Oh God.
My greatest advice for anyone in their 20s getting married is like, first of all, don't rush into it. Select a partner that will, above anything else, will respect you as a human being, will respect your family. If there is no respect, if there is no love, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter if they're rich. It doesn't matter if they're good looking. It doesn't matter if whatever the hell it is. Like, if you don't have respect, if you have no love, and like, you know, like now that I see, like, dating back 20 years, 23 years, I've been in this industry, and I've literally known over 1,000 couples and how they got married. I've seen their divorces. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know?
Hold on, like, any second marriages you've done?
You know what? I've actually hosted one wedding twice. One bride. I did her wedding. Like, so it's so weird to introduce.
So did you open up saying "Welcome back, everyone"?
Oh my God.
This is the sequel.
I felt so awkward to, like, literally. It was so deja vu because it was like 6 years apart, and here I am.
6 years. That's nothing.
Damn, that's really quick.
I was like, and like, she was one of the, like, cool Persian chicks. She was like, I don't care, Iman. The best part of the last wedding was you, so I'm gonna have you again. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm there. Thank you, I appreciate it. The only bad part, it was at the
My
Trump
rates
Hotel
have doubled.
in DC.
It was what?
It was at the Trump Hotel in DC. And I was like, come on, do I have to go to the Trump Hotel and shit? But yeah,
no good.
I know we're in Florida, so I don't know how you all feel, but
we're aligned. We're aligned.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great stories. But
so Iman, you gave us so much great content, but now we have to get into the more serious part of the conversation.
Oh, Taza Alam, we're getting into serious.
Now it's the serious
that
part
was bossy.
After you've had a good glass of wine and you know you're
Can I interject for a second? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the boring questions. I have 2 more boring questions. I'm sorry, everyone. I know I can ask you this personally, but for whoever maybe is listening, you know, could
they're not boring. Go for
advice from this. Okay. So one more thing. So, like, for me, like, I'll use myself as context. Like, I want to get into app development. I have a lot of good, like, in my head, I think they're good app ideas, right? So that involves coding. I don't know coding. So my question to you is, like, if you aren't familiar with something, do you take the time to learn it yourself, or do you just budget your finances to hire someone to help you in that aspect? Like, now you can use it in, like, maybe your business.
So it's a great question. I feel like on a macro level, you always want to be able to have at least some type of information or some type of, like, astuteness into that thing that you want to invest money. Because at the end of it, it's your money. Nobody's deal is going to besuz other than you, because it's your money, it's your time, it's your investment. So I think when you become big enough as a business, and I'm not even there yet, so I'm not going to act like I am. When you become big enough, you can pay people who are specialists in a certain thing that they can go ahead and do their research and, like, make this executive decision. Oh yeah, this is something good to invest in. But because I haven't gotten to that point, I mean, at most I've had 75 employees, and the level of our business has always been something that I kind of want to oversee. But I've always been a big fan of, or in favor of, like, knowing what you want to invest in, you know, and, like, you shouldn't trust anybody because nobody would care about your business the way that you do. Right. So even if you do get big and you do have the right people, you still want to kind of have, like, a little pulse on the beat of what it is that you're doing. So especially in the app industry, I don't know much about it, but I would say, first of all, before you even get down that road, first, before you expand and diversify your portfolio, stick to what you're great at, stick to what you know, and stick to what you love. And then worry about all the ancillary services. One of the biggest mistakes that I made at Exclusively Entertainment. So what's the name? Exclusively fucking Entertainment, right? So that's what we started in 2009 with DJs. It was all kosher DJs. Then I was like, let me add some lighting. Got a little too fancy. Let me add photo booth. Got a little too fancy. Let me add photography. Let me add videography. Let me add event planning. I tried to become this, like, you know, one-stop shop. No high-end bride or groom really wants a one-stop shop. They want a specialist. They want a sniper. They want somebody who knows how to do one thing. They know how to do it great. They want Exclusively Entertainment.
Yeah.
You know, and so, like, one of the greatest things that happened with COVID, after I was humbled and crushed down with everything that was happening with the public events, I was like, COVID was great for me. It allowed me the opportunity to revamp EE. And next week, we're going to be launching a brand new exclusively entertainment website. And guess what? It's wedding centric. It's focusing on the two services that we fucking kick ass at, DJ and lighting. That's it. Back to the core, back to the basics. So now we're going to crush it. Why? Because we know how to do it. It's like, it's rinse and repeat for us. There's no challenges. I don't have to worry about the photo booth technician, the fancy lighting that we don't even do anymore, or like an event coordinator. Too many things, you know, too many things. So Arta, man, my man, like you know how to make an app. Whatever your specialty is in that app right now, start with that. Go with the app for the type of service or product that you love. Give it your everything. Do that proof of concept. Do it, fine tune it, make it the best ice sculpture, fucking chisel. Be like, this is my masterpiece. Once you create a masterpiece, then bring the right people to go ahead and like add all these additional services. Like that is one of the things that was a part of EE's downfall, is the fact that I tried to do too much, too fast. I got too excited. I was like, let me go ahead and do this and this. Let me dominate this. I got upset that photographers weren't referring services to me. So I was like, fuck that shit. I'll do photo. It's such a Persian mentality to have. I can do this better than anybody else. No. Instead, I took this step back and I started Night Owls. Night Owls, all we do is photo and video. So slowly but surely, Night Owls is going to grow photo and video, you know, but EE, back to the core.
Gotcha. That's good information for any entrepreneur. The main thing is to have a pulse on it.
Mm-hmm. And I'll finish it off with this, Iman. You mentioned that you had 2 masters, and I did a little researching in business-oriented masters they were. So starting into it, do you think that those master degrees helped you get to where you are in the career with the knowledge that you gained from it? And like, would you encourage someone that's pursuing entrepreneurship to go get those, degrees in business?
Yeah, man, I love that question, man. I'll tell you this much. So at this point in my life, my opinion would have mattered. It would have been different 20 years ago. At this point in my life, the only type of college or grad school that I would advocate or recommend or encourage anybody is if you want to become a lawyer or a doctor or some kind of specialty that requires a graduate degree or even a college degree. Like, the world has changed. The world is in your oyster. Through social media, through the internet, you're able to change the world literally from teenage years. And if you have that passion that, and some people have it at a very young age, and you have the great core support group around you, you're able to do whatever you want to do without having to go to college. You can't become a great surgeon without going to med school. You can't become a great trial lawyer without going to law school. That's that. For me, the MBA and the masters in international management, they were more like a confidence booster for me, especially when I was growing up. And for like 10 years, the name DJ was like attached to me. I had to kind of, especially as a Persian, the Persian community, I had to kind of like use that as a way to kind of like, hey, Manam Adama, yeah. I mean, because all my friends.
And I encourage everybody to listen to the podcast, because you get into why you did the 2 masters a little bit.
Well, so that one was like, it's an American mentality where they throw in, hey, you can get a second master's with only 2 additional semesters. So I was like, God damn it. I just did. Exactly. I did 2 years and I can get a second master's in 2 semesters. Of course I can do it, And so I kind of did it with a combination of, first of all, here's the interesting stuff. Before I got my dual master's, I was in a doctorate of physical therapy program. I was 14 months away from getting my PT degree. And I did it because of parents' expectations of Bora Doctor Besho, So
I couldn't imagine as a physical therapist, bro.
Dog. I can't either.
I couldn't either. Yeah, I
just
can't see that.
I mean, like, it was like, how could I imagine? How could I explain this? It would have been the most miserable life that I could ever imagine for anybody, because I genuinely have no interest in being in khaki pants, a polo shirt, and telling somebody to extend their knee at 45 degree and putting ice packs on them. God bless anybody who actually has the ability to do that. And if you're a great physical therapist, amazing stuff. Like, a physical therapist healed my sister's broken neck, so I respect it. But like, it's not meant for everybody. Like, everybody was meant for something, Exactly. And so And so for me, like I always knew that I had this entrepreneurial spirit. I knew that I had this business mindset. I mean, at 16 years old, I was thinking about business, you know? So for me, that's kind of like how it all played out, man. I don't know how else to explain or elaborate.
No,
That's a great.
and if anybody wants to hear more about that, I encourage everybody to go listen to the Unite and Conquer podcast.
Or maybe even take a business class or two just to get your mind in that
Yeah.
mindset, you know, oriented, more focused, you know.
And the one thing that I will add is the fact that it was great to kind of be around business-minded people. But really, like at the end of the day, the best experience that I got was street smarts. Like you learn the hardest way through that, no matter what the books say, no matter what like the grad school program did.
All experience.
It's all experience, you know. So like,
I think
even
even when you do the book smart stuff, like I experienced this, I was telling Arash about it because I just started my first job, and you know, I had all this book smart stuff. I was like, oh, books, but then you get into it and you realize that half the job is talking to people, how to interact with
You never use the Pythagorean theorem.
You never use the calculus theorems you learn.
You mean a parallelogram is not going to be useful?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like how you speak to people and interact with them and the experience you gain as you go on in the job, which is so hard. I feel like they don't talk about that a lot here. They really make you focus on the theory and the curriculum.
The school of hard knocks is real life, you know, and that's what it. I mean, like the greatest experience that I had was through not just the great parts of business, but also the failures. Like really, it's the failures where I learned the most, you know, and that's the part that really makes who you are. Especially like if I've ever met a businessman that has never failed, I promise you, I would never want to follow their footsteps.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Yeah. I mean, like, how could you ever think that they really have it all figured out if all they had was this peachy road? There's no such thing as a walk in the park.
You mean they didn't get a small $1 million loan from their dad?
I was just gonna say that.
I was thinking that earlier in the pod, and I'm like, I'm just not gonna get there.
So now we get to the hard.
We get fun, so I'm done. Thank you, Iman. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Arta.
Great question.
Now we get to the hard hitting questions.
All right.
And
please tell me if it's between Hormuz Sabzi or Khoresh Qaimi or something like that.
You know, it might be. You never know. Okay. It might be, but we're gonna wrap it with a bow with one final question at the very end.
Okay.
But,
oh my God.
Matto, what do you got for him?
All right, I want to switch things up. You know, it's nice to be serious, but we want to know like a little bit more about you, I guess.
We want to know about Iman, not business.
By the way, Matto, you have like the best bed. What is it called? The bed. It's like
frame.
So like
my bed. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean it's so Persian princessy. But
Thank you.
I mean, it's great.
It fits her. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
What's up?
Okay, Cabernet or Merlot? Because I realized you like red wine.
Yeah. So look at right here. So this is Cabernet Sauvignon. Okay. So it is for sure. All right.
We're on the same page on here.
And you know what? This one actually is what my sister got me. It's called Bubo, and it's an owl, because everything that's owls or night owls related, my sister gets for me.
Oh.
And so yeah.
That's the name of your new company. There you go.
Night owls. Yeah.
I heard from a little birdie you're into hip hop. So Dre or Biggie?
Man, I have to go with Biggie. Can't you see? Sometimes you would just hypnotize me, and I just love your flashy ways. This is why I want, and you so paid. That's good.
We're gonna get hit with a copyright infringement now.
Got 10 seconds before they get us to the copyright.
That's so funny, man. Yo, man, Juicy by Biggie is the greatest rap song of all time. It is, man. I mean, like, if that song goes on and people above 30 years old aren't on the dance floor, they can get the fuck off it, and I don't want them on.
Weed them out.
Even if they're not on the dance floor, as long as they're like singing along to
it, along with it.
It's that one. I feel like when you're in a club, it's that song. It's in the club, and it's the Fresh Prince song. Yeah. Everybody should just know those words. They play the Fresh Prince song
nowadays. That's
great. It like kind of made a comeback recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, for the newer generation, it's
Stop.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, like, Tupac and Biggie, man, greatest hip-hop artists, lyricists, MCs. I mean, if you hate on Biggie and Tupac, you just haven't listened to them. You haven't truly listened to their greatest hits.
You don't understand them.
They're next level. They're next level stuff. And it's not just like an old school guy like Grandpa on the patio saying, "Oh, you dirty rascals." Like, literally, like, lyrically, they were incredible, you know, and like what a blessing they were to the music world.
All right, this one's, in my opinion, an obvious, but Miami or DC?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. So you know what I've realized through this whole transition from DC, Miami, now officially Miami, is that home is truly where the heart is. You know, like that. Like I never realized that until my parents came down here 6 months ago, and I realized, oh my God, I'm the last man standing. Like all this time, I thought I was this Washingtonian guy. I love DC, which I really do. Like it's multicultural, it's melting pot. It's a very educated city. It's a very conservative city, not in a way like politically, but there are humble people. Like there are millionaires driving around with Toyota Camrys. Like you don't need to have the flashiness of Miami, New York, or DC. Like you can literally have the most.
So Miami's the opposite. They're people who should be driving Camrys
who are driving
but they're pushing Lambos,
and Ferraris and
exactly. And so and DC, I always loved the Four Seasons. So for me, like I love change, you know, and like I don't, as much as I love going to the beach, which is 10 feet away from me, and it's nice and all. I love winter. I love snow. I love but I'm in a 300 square foot studio, so don't get too excited. And so but I love change. I love weather changing. Like it just kind of keeps you on your toes, you know. So I love DC for many reasons. My friends are there. Like my heart is there. 30 years of great friendship network.
That's your roots.
That's my roots. But I also think that life is so incredibly short to be living in one city all your life. And literally 3 days ago was the first time that I could say, after 30 years, DC is not my home. Like the first 10 years, it was Germany. For 30 years, no matter where I was traveling and working in the world, I always would say DC is my home. Last week, I rented out my house in DC and I came over here and I was like, damn, I'm a Miami boy now. So I'm embracing it. I'm loving it. And with great people like you in South Florida, I'm blessed to be amongst other great people over here. So
welcome to the epicenter.
I love it. Epicenter of COVID. Great. Yeah. Thanks, Arthur. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mask on, baby. Mask on.
Mata, hit him.
All right. Soccer or football?
Oof. Well, every 4 years, soccer. I can't even say I love football. I'm going to have to say soccer. And every World Cup, I always pray that USA, Germany, and Iran is in the World Cup.
But not in that order.
Yeah,
not
and one time.
Two of the three always disappoint.
Well, no, in 98, I think they were all in the same group, no?
98, they were in the same group. And then Azizi scored that goal. It was amazing. Yep. And even this past summer, like we hosted this outdoor concert series for the World Cup. We had a few thousand people show up to watch the Iran games versus Portugal, Iran game versus Morocco. And like, I mean, we have this amazing video, which fucking YouTube took down because of copyright issues. But like,
were you singing again?
Was I singing it? Is that what you said?
Were you singing again? You know,
no, they were showing the game in the background. That's why they probably cut them.
Yeah, no, we took clips from like the TV stuff. The part where like they're like scoring the goals. But like, I still have it on Google Drive. I'll send it to you guys. It's an awesome highlight video that we made. But it was cool, man. It was great.
Little quick fact. I follow, soccer, football, whatever, religiously. And as we know, Ali Daei is the leading scorer in international goals.
Shocking,
Iranian. Yes. And actually, Cristiano Ronaldo is actually a few goals short of breaking his record. So that's going to be detrimental to our history.
Oh, man.
Culture. So that's one thing
wants to be number two.
Proudly, but
it's amazing. Ali Daei is because the Asia League is a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
Because there was one game. I think we made like 26.
We beat the USA once. Don't forget.
Amazing. I actually hosted a fundraiser and Ali Daei was there, and like his sister is in DC, and so that's why I got involved. So I got to meet him like 5-6 years ago. It was pretty cool. And such a humble dude, you know, like it's I don't know, man. It's just like for some reason, it's so weird. Like when you look at the Iranian national team, it seems like they're all your brothers or your cousin. Like I don't look at them as athletes. I look at them. I look at them like the when they did.
That's my cousin over there.
Yeah, exactly. When they, I think it was even a tie or something. Maybe it was a win. I forgot. But this past World Cup, and like they played Arash's Iran inside the World Cup. But خدا مثل برادرها بودن. You know, like it was amazing. Like you just have this connection and camaraderie with them, and like, you know, like with everything that's going on in Iran, like you're happy to see your people happy, you know?
For sure, definitely.
And I hope those days
okay, and now to the more important part.
They're rapid fire.
They're supposed to be rapid fire.
Okay, rapid fire.
It's all good.
Okay, let's go. I love it.
Normal or bread tadik?
Man, Avalan, wait, that's the only option? You're not going to put potato up on this shit? It's
But,
gonna be
you're really gonna choose potato?
I mean, potato is the goat.
Actually, yeah, of course. It's like the Michael Jordan. But I'll take LeBron James of Nuna Lavosh under it, because, and you don't want anything basic. We're Persian. We can't have anything basic. It has to be something. It has to be
Or the tallow on top, sprinkle some tallow.
Edible gold and
I wouldn't mind. If it's not going to be potato, I'll take lavosh tadik for sure.
Yeah, especially with spaghetti.
Oh, well, that's potato, dude. Come on, man.
Yeah.
You could do
With the,
both.
with the ketchup.
Oh, you do the lavash with the spaghetti, Arash?
You could.
Yeah, look at Arash going against the grain, dude.
Fesenjun or masabzi?
That's not even a question.
That's a question.
Y'all are some Fesenjun haters up in here.
I could guess Amaran being a Fesenjuni, dude.
No, I'm with her, but like sour fesenjun.
Only the Shomali way. Yeah, sour.
Yeah,
not the
I mean, Arta and Arash, please tell me that you guys are hormasabzi all day, every day.
No, I'm
Parmesan doesn't even look appetizing.
It's so
Your face
good.
doesn't
You
look
haven't,
appetizing.
you
Face
haven't
the
had
hate
it the
Fesenjun.
right way.
Don't get
Tasty
me out. Don't get
Fesenjun.
me.
Your face is not appetizing.
But no, good Fesenjun is good. I'm not even gonna front. But
Arta, come on, you're Shomali side. You're not going to.
yeah. Well, we eat like fish and Ordak, so like we're
Yeah,
on a different
it's
vibe.
different. Yeah.
Sweet or sour?
Can we do
I'm not
Chinese
talking about
food where it's
girls. I'm
both?
talking about food.
Can we do Chinese food where it's sweet and sour together?
Okay, yeah.
I
there
actually
you go.
do. I do like the combination. There's a little bit of zest that comes when you put. I like the yin to the yang.
Mhm.
Got you. Salty.
It's so funny for my awesome people. I do rapid fire. I've never been the recipient end of
It's
a lot of
How does it
fire,
feel?
yeah.
It's a lot of pressure, dude. I'm sweating. You can't see my bald ass over here, dude. All right, what's the next question?
Last one. Salty or spicy?
Dude, I'm a little bitch when it comes to too spicy, so I'm gonna have. I mean, I'm not even a big fan of salty, but I have to defer to salty over spicy because I don't have the Indian blood in me. So
Okay.
Okay.
I got another one for you. Sangak or Barbari?
Oof.
wow.
And
You
then
know
with
what?
that bread,
Okay, and does it depend
You know
on
what?
Paneer,
Toasted or
yeah.
not? No, I was gonna say yeah. There's so many combinations that went through my head. I'm gonna have to say toasted sangak, but nuna paneer, but here's that is sabzi up in that shit.
There you go. That's a man of culture.
But it's got to be a little warm. You got the warmness of the bread,
Yeah.
the coldness of the paneer, and then the mint for the zest. I like zest. I just realized.
Yeah.
Here we
Zest
go
is
with
good.
food. Basani sonati or falude?
So I'm gonna have to go with faluda because there's nothing like faluda in this world. I mean, like everybody has basani and all that stuff, but who has
Everybody
faluda?
has a certain type of ice cream.
That's true.
well, they have a mixture of the two.
They do.
I
That's
made
good.
it last night. I made homemade.
I like
fondant.
basani sonati if it's in between the Wafers and
Oh
the
yeah.
That's
same
the
way.
same
the Persian Klondike bar, you know.
Yeah,
So,
Espan makes the best.
Kubide or
Oh.
bag?
so solely for the sake of kubide smelling like poop, I'm gonna have to go with the bag. And if it's bag that is great, chibad gibisha, you know. So
Right.
I'm gonna go with
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
Arash, hit
You know,
him.
by the way, can I give a shout out to? I'd like to give a shout out to Shah's of
I knew-
Kebab up
yeah.
in this place. Yani,
So good.
I tell you this much, man. My mom is so finical when it comes to freaking food. For 40 years of my life, I've had to hear from her, "Ke hichi مثل نایب ایران نمیشه." Hichi,
Yes,
right? Like
so good.
literally everybody, anybody. Like and DC, man, we got some good cowboy places. There's Alborz, there's freaking Shamshiri.
Well, you guys have a very established Persian community there.
Exactly, but trust
The
me,
embassy is there.
to my mother's taste buds, nothing competes, you know. And then all of a sudden, like a couple months ago, my nephew Parsa was like, "Hey, Dai, I found this place, Shah's Kebabs. Let's get it, let's try it." And then we ordered food for everybody, and my mom was like, "Yo, astaghfirullah. Hiç vaqt taba as ever since this is not yet. We have found." I was like, "Are you kidding me? We've lived all around the world, and in Miami, we find
Of
the
all
best
places.
Senegal of all the places." So she has found finally the one place that makes good
Good.
food there
Good.
that she finds, and I mean, they're great people.
Yeah.
Like we need to continue to support those kind of people, man. They're doing
Yeah.
some great stuff. The guy is Mehdi. I know that, or Mahdi, because my middle name is Mahdi. So I want to give a shout out to Shah's Kebab in Miami. Hopefully they give us a free round of food.
Iman, Boro Beshun Begu, you give me a cherry bag a day, I give you a brand story for Unite and Conquer. Go do a little Iruni.
به خدا می‌خواستم بهشون داستانشون. I genuinely was thinking about that, you know, because
There
they
you go.
deserve
Make
it. They
their
deserve
brand
it.
story.
When you go, give me a call. I'll join you over there.
Put a little slideshow.
Asa.
No, yeah.
Hey guys, So Ben Macho, I don't know. Is everybody like who's the furthest place from South Beach?
Me.
Maybe
I'm the closest to you.
Who's the furthest? How far drive?
I mean, we're all within an hour.
Hour.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
what are we now?
45.
So right next to me, like we have this thing, we call it bakhshe, you know, and like I would love to invite you guys over. We'll have shahs and kebab, and we're gonna have a little chit chat and hang out, and we're gonna have a great time. So we're gonna coordinate that later.
I'll bring
Tell us
this
more.
one.
It'd be great.
Bring your masks.
I will have my mask in tow and hand sanitizer.
Let's
I'm
go.
I'm
Let's
the
go.
germ police here.
So
Let's do it.
I'll ask you one more question before I get into the news challenge, and I ask this of every single guest,
Hope you're
Cool.
ready.
and I need somebody to agree with me on this. Okay,
Yo,
maybe it's you, Iman, and you see they're all cringing because they know the question.
Go ahead.
Should I be
Is a
worried?
hot dog a sandwich?
He's gonna spit out his wine.
he's gonna spit it out. Yeah.
No, he's gonna chug that. He's like,
Is a hot dog a sandwich? That's a trick question.
this is why I asked the
Really?
rapid fire.
Rick,
Putting that.
I
Out.
can't. Just for the sake of it's never been called a sandwich in my book, I'm gonna say no.
bah.
Thank
Mm.
you.
Take
But
that,
can we-
gypsy.
It's bread with meat in the middle of the bread. I mean,
I can
How many
see.
times are you gonna ask? Who's gonna agree with you?
Oh, is this the Jamali question? Is this-
Yes.
is this
Every
oh,
week.
okay. I mean,
This is why I
Amaran starts
asked
it with the
rapid
hello, and
fires.
Arash ends it with this.
but
Yeah.
Arash, in your defense, I know where you're coming from, man. I see.
Thank you.
I see.
Somebody at least sees my
like
thought
the,
process.
I like the outside the box thinking, and for you to. Well, my question is, what's the affinity with hot dog? And why are you fighting for a hot dog being a sandwich?
I don't care.
mean,
It's
you gotta
just the
classify
repetitiveness
these things
of
because
the
I feel like a hot
question.
dog is like, where do you put that on the menu? Like under the sandwiches, you have your turkey, you have your hamburgers, you have all these things, but where do you put a hot dog?
So let me tell you one thing that will perhaps help clarify things in the future. A sandwich usually consists of a lettuce and cheese and like some kind of meat, you know, and a hot dog doesn't have lettuce. So it might have like the relish, but it's not lettuce. So therefore,
So you never had a
in my
Chicago
book-
dog.
Oh, they have lettuce in that shit?
They have tomatoes at least. I don't know about the lettuce.
Okay, well, hey, in Chicago, you should be getting deep dish pizza anyway. So get off
Yeah,
hot
where
dogs
did you
nuts.
hot
Okay?
dog-
Some Giordano's.
I get
Either
where you're
way,
coming from.
Giordano's, that's my man right there. Fuck yeah, you can't go to Chicago.
I
and
got
not
two
get Giordano's.
Illuminati pies in my freezer right now.
Ooh, they're so good. There's
Iman, I'll send you the link.
Chicago's my favorite city in America, by the way.
It's a great city.
I love
Man,
Chicago.
it's one of the
great
most
city.
underrated cities in America as
For
far as
sure.
looks, feel, personality. It's a cleaner version of New York. So much great memories of Chicago, man. Underrated as shit.
So Iman,
So
we
nice.
talked and we want you to tell us what is our news challenge for this week.
It's an act of kindness, guys. I think that you guys are incredibly kind human beings, and this world is already so much better for you guys doing what you do. And I want to continue encouraging you to do something great and just pay it forward and do an act of kindness. Surprise somebody, surprise a group of people, and encourage everybody else to do the same.
That's
like
that's-
Arta.
I'm here for it.
Arta, I like pizza if you want to do an act of kindness. Cheese
Selfish,
pizza's
selfish,
okay.
selfish.
You know
Listen,
where I live.
Amaran was craving this one specific taco, and I offered to go buy her it and drive it to her house, and she was
He's
like,
right.
"No, diet,
He's
my
right.
it,
He's right. He's
chocolate."
right.
And I actually offered. I was at one of Amaran's favorite Mexican restaurants, and I offered to bring some food. I'll give it to Arta, and Arta can relay it to her house because he's like the midway point.
Wow.
But, you know,
And I promised I
Very
don't know
kind.
if I would be able to take it because I might just eat it myself.
Yeah, but see, you can't trust that part. No, but they're right. They're right. But maybe Juliet need to get act of kindness på in that part. Okay.
Starts next week. I think about it.
Okay.
and
Okay.
if you do an act of kindness, you don't necessarily have to record it and put it
No.
on social media.
Mhm.
But we can talk about it. We can, say what we did. Maybe not to whom or to what, but
Or
At
speak
least
on how
kinda-
you felt after you
How
got
I-
it.
or,
how we
speak
felt,
about how
yeah.
you felt. Last week's challenge was a little interesting.
Difficult
out there.
for some.
Iman, last week's challenge was Shayan Ibrahim gave it to us. It was call two people that you have beef with
3,
and,
and I couldn't think of one.
and,
So
and
you know,
sort it
I-
out with them.
I failed that one.
First of all, what a talented dude Shayan is, man.
Yeah,
Like,
right?
mad
So
props to
incredible.
him. I mean, that stuff, the quarantine stuff. I mean, Bita is a very good friend of mine. I did an awesome people with my good friend Bita, actually, Milania.
Milania,
She was
yeah.
she was one of my guests. She was like one of the main producers of working with Shayan to do the Persian quarantine thing. And yeah, man, that's great stuff. Like, I was really impressed. Like, I love it when Persians step up the plate, and
Yeah.
like do something that is like truly unique, truly. I hate shit that's like repetitive, and like I feel like unfortunately Persians, they love to fucking like take shit and just regurgitate it and whatever, and like I hate it when it's being like accepted in our community, you know, like people who just want to.
Are we talking about Shots of Sunset here?
I'm not trying to hit on. No, it's like there's like certain memes or certain jokes that are just so repetitive, and certain accents that you make fun of, whatever. Like, dude, like be different, be creative, be fresh, man. You know, and like
stop using the stereotypes to.
Yeah, Cheyenne and Beta and Tata and all those people who made that kind of stuff. That was quality stuff, man. You know, like from the moment that I saw it, I knew it was going to go viral because the cream always rises to the top.
Right. So,
and especially in terms of entertainment, like you don't see that much representation in the Iranian. So for Cheyenne to make a movie about his life coming to America and all the genuine.
I'm excited for that one.
It's like, you know, we can't wait. You know, we love.
That's great. I'm actually not privy to that, but it's good to know that he's doing some cool shit.
Yeah,
so that's great.
So we had some little insider.
So thank you so much, Iman, for coming on. We appreciate you carving out some time for us and talking about your trials and tribulations, all the things you're working on. And correct me if I'm wrong on here, you can follow Iman at Iman Huschmand on Instagram, at Exclusively Entertainment, and of course his latest and greatest project at Let's Unite and Conquer. Definitely follow those pages on Instagram, follow them on YouTube. I listened to, you know, the 3 episodes of the Unite and Conquer. I haven't gotten to the interviewing of the it wasn't interesting people.
Awesome
it was
people.
Awesome people.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to that part of it yet, but I'm going to get into that this week and listen to all those things. But definitely, if you want to get your brain juices flowing, just listen to those 3 episodes and you have a different perspective on everything after you listen to them.
And definitely if you're a young or starting up entrepreneur, check out on our comments. We'll obviously spell out all the names of his companies and everything, and hit him up for a kebab brand video if you're owner of a kebab place or whatever you're doing. He'll make that brand video for you.
I really want you guys, or anybody out there, especially Persians, the awesome people. I had some of my good friends were my guests. Andy, the pop star, Bita Milanian. I had, I had so many great freaking episodes. There's like with DJ Bliss from Canada. There was Farzi Loco, the comedian. I had, I feel like there's so many people like during quarantine. I was like,
I think you had Nima as well, no?
You had Nima. I think
I had Nima. That's right. You had Nima.
We had him on a couple weeks ago.
We had him, yeah.
I had Nima.
Did you have Amir K? Somebody with long.
I had Amir K. Yeah, Amir K was hilarious. I had Maz Jabrani. I mean, like Tehran. I had so many of my friends who are doing so many great things, and they were giving such great positive energy during a really difficult time, you know. And so, like, even though it was happening during March, April, May, they were all like some of my favorite entertainers, some of my hardest working people out in the business, and like, hopefully, it like kind of brings some type of positive mojo to all of you guys who are fans of those same people. So especially for the Persians, those are really special episodes for me, and I want to continue doing awesome people episodes with people who are doing great things for the community. And I can't wait to do an awesome people episode with all of you guys. I've never had it with a group of people, but I genuinely consider you guys as awesome people because of what you're doing.
Thank you.
I hope that the only thing that I want to kind of end off with is like, don't stop what the fuck you're doing, man. Like, I think what you guys do is so great. I feel like it requires constant motivation. It requires constant pushing. Like, there's going to be times where you guys are kind of doubting what you guys are doing, but you guys are onto something incredibly special, not just in the Persian community, but like as a community and just humanitarian kind of way, because the things that you guys want to talk about is touching on life, it's touching on work, it's touching on family, and these are the conversations that, first of all, it's endless topics, you know. So like you have to keep on pushing through this kind of shit. There's nobody that's better than you guys. It's just a matter of all those people that you guys are kind of looking up to. They just kind of put in the hard work and a lot of effort. They didn't give up. So don't give up. Like, this is truly something special. I'm telling you, you guys have something great. Keep on investing in it. Keep on asking people to invest in it. Improve the sound, improve the light. I'll make sure the quality is better for you guys in the future. Maybe I can help you guys in the future. Like, this is kind of like side talk, but like in Haifa, you know, like I respect the friendship you guys have. I appreciate the camaraderie you guys have. And I like how you guys all came with some great questions. You guys did your research. it's good shit, man. Don't give up on this stuff. You know, this is
Thank
like
you so much, Iman.
the kind of
Thank
stuff
you,
that
thank
has
you.
a lot of like what's the word I'm looking for? Migire is a Farsi word. I can't think of English, but migire.
Right.
You got to say
So
persistent.
catch on. You know.
Yeah, catch on. Thank you.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Iman.
and thank
And
you
to
for
all our
coming
listeners,
on.
don't forget this week, please, whatever you can, do some kind of act of kindness. It doesn't have to mean you could spend money. It just means it could be as simple as picking up the phone
Kind.
of someone who's down and just talking them up, helping them through a situation. It could be something that doesn't cost you anything but time.
Opening the door for someone. Not a lot of people do that
You know,
anymore.
Oh yeah.
So
Just
if-
listening,
Or
man.
wear
Just
your
listening.
masks and protect other people if you are infected with corona is the biggest act of kindness you could do right now. Thank you all. That's all I want to say.
That's the person who hasn't left her room in 6 months.
I've left my room,
She
okay,
had,
with a
she had a
mask.
little photo shoot the other day.
I did have a little photo shoot, but
All right, Iman, thank you so much for being on. Really
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, guys.
Iman.
Thank you,
We learned a
Iman.
lot. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I really appreciate you guys considering me as part of your show. Wish you guys all the best. Be safe. And we'll have our Shaza Kebab hangout in the Buckshire very soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be in Florida with you all. Awesome people, man. Let's go.
All right, we're happy to
Thank
have
Can't
you.
wait to
you.
hang out. Thank you. And
I'll
now
take
you
care.
can put on your resume that you're on the Monday News podcast.
There you go.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
All right, Iman.
Love you
All
guys.
right.
Good night.
Bye,
Take
everyone.
care.
Have a great week.
Bye.